Fedora Outlier LLC logo animation. Logo is burnt orange, reddish brown. The shape is a square with a white outer glow creating dimension. The letters FO are in the center of the square. The letters have a hand-drawn artistic appearance. Backdrop is black with light flares that appear then disappear. There is a transparent mirror image of the logo underneath.
Okay, so you're here now?
I was here before, but I'm still here.
No, you wasn't here before because I couldn't hear you.
Okay, well, I hung up and I rejoined. I'm here with you.
That's what's up. Listen, everybody, the sounds that you are hearing is from none other than Miss Astra Abram. Now, listen, check it out. I have never, ever interviewed like a star before. And so this is going to be a very, very interesting interview to say the least. But you guys put your hands together for Miss Astra Abram, not with the S. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. You got your hair done?
Yeah.
Or in the South, as they say, your hair did?
Yes.
I don't know how that works, how you get your hair did, but you know, it is what it is.
You have to be prepared for this weather. So, yeah.
Okay. It's a weather thing.
Yes, I'm saying.
I got you. Okay. Well, speaking of weather, you are not from around here. You are from New York City. No, you're somewhere in New York. Tell us where you're from, how you grew up, and what your childhood was like.
Oh, wow. There's a whole lot in that question. Okay. I was actually born in Statesboro, Georgia, but I grew up in Buffalo, New York. So I guess I'm kind of a apple peach.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Buffalo is upstate New York, so I'm not from the city, but it is this queen city of New York, and it's pretty rural compared to New York City, but it was a great place to grow up. I have several brothers and sisters, but we came up in Buffalo till I was about 23, and I moved to Georgia. So my childhood was a good childhood, normal, pretty much, going outside, playing all day, went to school. I had friends. I would say it was pretty normal. Had a job at 15, and pretty normal. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary. I did have a lot of older friends, so I was able to do more things because they were older and could go places. So I enjoyed doing that. So yeah, I think I had a really well-rounded, childhood and young adult life.
I would beg to differ. So you are African American, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, and well-rounded. Pretty normal are the adjectives that you use to describe your childhood. But is it true, Miss Abram, that you have never in your life had oodles and noodles?
That is true.
There's no way you had a pretty normal, well-rounded childhood without the proverbial oodles of noodles. So we already have caught you in this whole thing called a lie. It wasn't well-rounded.
It was really. I'm saying, if your parents don't eat oodles and noodles, then what is the chances that you are going to?
Okay, well, we not gonna hashtag bougie it right now, but well-rounded. So did you take like ballet, dance, things of that nature growing up?
Yes, it was insistent of my grandmother that I went to dance class. So my mom, she was like, I don't know, but my grandmother insisted, and so she was the one who took me to my dance classes. So yes.
Okay. And what was that like? Was there a lot of African American individuals in that class, or because you was in New York, was it a mixture of ethnicities?
I'd say it was a mixture of ethnicities. I would say 50-50. Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't completely one way or another. The area where I lived, it wasn't just predominantly black or predominantly white. It was pretty mixed. So I got to know a lot of different cultures. Like I knew real Italians, I knew real Russians, I knew real Polish people. So it wasn't different to travel different places and meet different people because I was already in a mixing pot of a lot of different cultures. So I appreciate the area where I live. Yeah.
Okay. So any like Russian or Italian mafia bosses or anything in the neighborhood? Now that you think back on it.
If they were, I wasn't aware of what was going on. I do know at Lenovo, sorry, name drop, they did have, like Land Cruisers as the delivery trucks. But I mean, I don't know why. They just did.
Land Cruisers as the delivery truck to go down the street.
Was great pizza.
Within a 15-mile radius, they had Land Cruisers. What type of food were they delivering in these Land Cruisers?
Pizza.
Oh, okay. All right. And the restaurant name again was?
See, you trying to get me in trouble. It was Lenovo. They are nationwide, so yeah.
I never heard of them. Pizza Hut, Domino's. Shoot. I think if Chick-fil-A came out with a pizza, they'd be more well known than the Land Cruising driving delivery people from Lenovo's.
Stop.
Okay.
Look them up.
All right. I'm going to look them up. So did you recently have like the Lenovo's pizza delivered or something or?
No, it wasn't in my neighborhood. They were like on the east side of town. I live more like north, so yeah.
Okay. So describe like Buffalo in detail for you as a childhood. Sidewalks, things of that nature. You could jump rope, feel safe. Everything was like real cool. Did you grow up?
In the area, I probably lived in like 3 different neighborhoods.
Okay.
I lived for a while in the Central Park area, so it was cool. It was I went to probably mostly black schools. I went to public school, so it was cool. Then I moved, not even far. I probably moved like 10 minutes away, but it probably was like North Buffalo. I lived like up the street from the park, up the street from the zoo. There was a library at my corner. So, I mean, I took it for granted, but I did notice when other people were visiting, like, it's kind of Disney here. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. I'm like, this is normal. Yeah, there are sidewalks. As opposed to you moved to Georgia, and the city wasn't built around sidewalks. So that was odd to me here. Like, my neighborhood I live in now doesn't have a sidewalk. That is so very odd, where when I grew up, that was the norm. So, like I said, it was pretty cool. I hung out with my friends. We hung out, like I said, with the babysitter. We hung out outside all day, and yeah, we played hide and go seek, red light, green light.
Okay. So one more temperature check on this well-rounded childhood that you had. So you're outside playing, right? Did you ever drink water from the water hose or the water spigot outside? Tell the truth, because I got your mama number.
Maybe me and my brother, maybe washing a car, maybe, but not just, we're going to drink some water. No.
Okay, so the answer is no, correct? Well-rounded, ladies and gentlemen. Cultured childhood. No water, no oodles and noodles. Wow. Okay.
That does not make up your childhood.
Oh, my God. When you're playing outside and you take a break from that kickball game and the water hose is right there, man, what are you talking about? Wow.
I had fun as a child. Don't
I
make it
bet.
seem like we didn't have fun. I rode my bike, my Huffy, with the banana seat. Yeah, stop saying
I got you. So at 15, like that is generally the time when the parents are telling the children, hey, when you're able to get your work permit, it's time for you to go to work and start making your way through this world of work. Was that it for you, or just so happened to be that it was 15 that you got your permit?
I did, because I really had finished a lot of my courses in school. So in high school, I didn't have to take a lot of classes like my senior year. So, anyways, I didn't really want a job per se. I had jobs before, but not because I wanted anything in particular. But my parents did go really get my first job for me.
The hookup.
So I really did just have to show up and say, okay, I'm ready to go to work.
Got you. Now, what was your first? You wasn't driving the Land Rover to deliver pizzas, obviously. So what was your first job?
My first job where I got a paycheck with, was I worked at a grocery store. I was a cashier, and I did that for several months, and then I moved up into the office. I was working, at that time it was like the little bank and customer service and cigarettes and all of that. I did all of that up in the office.
Cigarettes.
Yeah, that was like a special place. You couldn't just buy cigarettes at the register. You had to go up to the counter.
The customer service counter.
Yeah, the service counter.
Okay. All right. So you rung up hundreds of people in your time working at the grocery store.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, and so these packs of oodles and noodles came across your little dingy thing several times. Nothing about all of these things selling off the shelf said, I need to try this. I'm just saying.
I worked down on the cashiers. Honestly, to be honest, that's quite some time ago. I'm not trying to reveal my age, probably. But anyways, but I do not recall oodles and noodles being like a high priority. I don't remember what a high item was. I honestly don't remember a lot of oodles and noodles. I remember people having tons of groceries around the 1st and the 15th. I ain't gonna lie. But I don't remember them having oodles and noodles. I remember them having all the name brand cereal, all the name brand everything. And I used to be like, dang. Like, my mama would come in here and be like, nah, y'all better get y'all some Cheerios or something. So,
wow.
No, I do not remember oodles and noodles being like a main staple in people's groceries. Okay.
All right. Your Honor, we're moving on to the next question. So,
thank you.
It's evidence here. Right. So, what was the dope cereals for you?
Me and my daddy's favorite cereal is Cocoa Puffs. And yeah, Cocoa Puffs. And I love corn pops. That was my thing, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so you moved through that, and so you guys know I like to tell the story of how I came across this particular person for the interview. And so we're in New Orleans, Louisiana, the 2022 National Federation of the Blind Convention. And Julie Moses, shout out to Julie Moses, and her roommates with the S. We're going to talk about those right there. Shout out to Steve Norman. What's up, Steve? Anyway, so I come into the room. She basically says, who is that stinking cologne on? I'm like, yo, that's him.
That is like, not how it went.
Okay, well, how did it go? You tell me.
A gentleman stepped into our room, and he did actually smell quite nice, and it was very obvious. So I made the comment, well, dang, you smell so good, you make me think I stink.
Wow. Cool.
Yes.
So we get there and we get to talking, and we find out that she, prior to losing her sight, was a electrician, but not just any normal electrician. She works on like big stuff. Not, she's not gonna be the one to come to your house and fix like your light socket. Way more intricate than that. And what intrigued me also is that my sister is a electrician on ships for like the naval shipyard and that type of thing in New York, upstate New York, by the way, but Albany, not Buffalo. But nevertheless, I'm not. I love New York. I've never been to Buffalo though. But yeah. So how did you get into the job of being an electrician? What kind of electrician were you, and what was the journey of this type of work for you?
I was a union electrician. Shout out Local 613 Atlanta.
Ooh.
I was tired of my job that I had at the time.
Okay.
I was working for they don't exist anymore. I was a billing clerk for Airborne Express, and I couldn't stand the job. It was horrible.
Okay. It was a shipping company, right?
Yes. It eventually turned to DHL. But
I was about to say, yeah, who purchased them?
DHL.
Somebody need to purchase DHL, because they suck too. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just like, this job, just sitting down all day in an office with a bunch of women, just really wasn't for me. And I was just like, dang, I gotta find something else different. And at the time, I was married at the time, so my husband, he was a union worker as well, but he was in a different local. And I just asked him, like, what is there at your job that I could do? And he was like, probably nothing. I just being flippant at the mouth. Like, what about electrician? And he's like, well, they have their own union. I was like, really? I was like, how do I join? He was like, why don't you give them a call? I was like, dang, he ain't said nothing but a word. And that's all it took. I found out what I had to do, found out what was the requirements, application fee, went down there, applied, took the test, and never looked back. Yeah, I do commercial, industrial, tenant spaces. Yeah, and I've been able to work all over Atlanta, all over the country. Up and down the Eastern Seaboard, West Coast. And I had a great time doing it. I really loved my field.
So, apartment complexes, are they commercial, industrial, or are they still categorized as kind of home electrician work?
Apartment complexes are still considered residential.
Okay, that makes sense. So, define commercial and industrial, and what's the difference of somebody working at a home or apartment complex versus what you were doing?
So, industrial would be considered like a power plant. I work for several Southern Company plants where you're actually, power plants usually are either coal, there still are coal plants, or generators, whether it be water or steam, so I'm in that infrastructure is building that, and we're piping out to all the residences that need power. So I'm working on that type of field and that type of, I'm working there. Or commercial is usually a build out of, I don't know, I've worked for Google, Apple, IBM. They're usually starting data centers or chip plants or things of that nature. Or even commercial as far as car plants, like I work for Ford, and just in retooling. When they do a different car, they have to change all the machines out. So all that takes electrical work. So yeah, it's an extensive field.
Okay, so are the, like, let's say Google or Apple, and I'm being in the technology realm, I'm understanding of the components that we get to make up the electronics that we have. But what makes that plant different? Is it they're using a whole bunch more electric than the norm, or are the plugs that they plug in things different? What makes it so special?
No, that's the interesting perspective that you're looking at it at. But if you think about anything that starts, anything that you build, you need power. So from the point of you need initial power for there to be light there for anybody else to do any other trade. You need an electrician. For us to bring the power to I don't want to use terminology that would not make any sense to you. So we're doing everything that needs to be done to bring the power in the building for anything else to be built. You can't do anything besides lay concrete, and you can't even lay the concrete until you lay the pipe work that goes underneath the concrete to bring everything into the building. So we're the people that first get there to start the job, and then at the end of the job, let's say it's a theater. You're not starting the theater and having people come until we test everything out, and then we're there when everybody comes into the building for the first time. We start the job and we end the job. We're important. I don't know what else to tell you.
All right, I got it. So basically, you are the Jesus of power, and you just distribute it to everybody else. And so you the Alpha and Omega when it comes to the lights. Okay.
Yes.
Got
Let there
you.
be light.
Okay. I feel you. So how long did you do this for?
Oh man, I started in 2002, and I think I took my last job in 2018. So yeah.
So what was the hardest job you had, where you just dreaded going to this particular job because it was just making you pull your hair out?
I can't really say there's any in particular job that made me pull my hair. Conditions are different on different jobs. So I know one of the hottest jobs I worked at was a sugar plant that blew up in Savannah, Georgia. And working on that, it was hot every day. 7 o'clock in the morning, I done came on a full sweat. You know, that was disgusting. But conditions seem to be worse than anything else. But I actually really enjoyed my job. I really enjoyed the physicality of it. I enjoyed having to actually think, look at blueprints, do the math. I really enjoyed every aspect of it. It was hard being a Black woman, of course, in this field, especially in the South. I had to put up with a whole lot of things that, just are not normal. I mean, from men telling me, this is not a woman's field. You really shouldn't be here. Or persons who, just because of who I was or I was a woman, they didn't want me to learn anything. And, those were challenges. But I was determined. So it wasn't a point of, I'm not going to make it. It's just, okay, this is what I have to endure to make it. But, yeah.
Okay. So you made it in that fear. You're in the field. What was your husband's response after you made it? Did you stick your tongue out and say, "Nah, nanny boo boo, I did it," or?
No, he was encouraging. Unfortunately, our marriage dissolved before I finished. So, but we remained friends. But he knew that I finished, and he was proud of me.
Oh, okay. Dope. So lots of travel. You was able to see the United States at least?
Oh, yes. I think I saw places that I probably would have never gone to. I remember one of my first places I went traveling was Beaumont, Texas. I would never have gone to Beaumont, Texas. But there was a lot of oil refineries there, so I worked there on a couple of oil refineries. That was different. I've gone and worked in New York. I worked on chip plants there. I worked in Missouri car plants. I worked in Arizona for a year. I worked in California for a couple of years. I've done solar farms. I've done so many different things and seeing so many different places that, I mean, shoot, I encourage anybody that, you know, a young person, you're not sure what you want to do, at least try a trade. Shoot, I mean, I don't think that if you learn a trade, you're wasting your time. They can't never take it away from you. So.
Right. So the knowledge and the experience is what makes a tradesman or tradeswoman valuable, because you'll never lose that knowledge, you'll never lose that experience, and you can take it wherever you go.
Yes, we're International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. Yes.
Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Okay, sister. All right. And so you work this job up into, or have this career up into the point that you start to lose your sight. How did that happen? What's your feelings behind it?
Yeah, I began to lose my sight. I didn't notice it probably 2014, actually. I knew, as in driving, couldn't see all the signs on the side of the road, and sometimes the street signs I wouldn't notice I was right up on them. I'm like, dang, something's not right. Maybe I just need some new glasses. But I developed what the doctors refer to as hemorrhaging of my retina. They were hemorrhaging, which there's no cure for it, but they could only slow down the process. So initially, I didn't know that this would happen so quickly. You know, it really happened over a course of maybe 4 or 5 years. But I took it all in stride. As I kept working, I just let persons know, especially people working directly with me, what was going on, so that I could keep on doing what I was doing as long as possible. Mm-hmm. And I had been within a realm of brothers that knew me and respected me, so they did not mind helping me transition into what was happening to me until I just couldn't work anymore. And it took a toll on me because, like I said, I loved what I did. It was just life-changing, of course, but I think my attitude on life and my attitude towards not thinking that everything is impossible for me helps me a lot. If I think I was less of a person that would tackle things, first of all, I was in a male-dominated trade. Who takes on that?
Right.
So I have a determination and a different view on a lot of things than a whole lot of people have. So I took that same attitude, I guess, a little bit with, all right, now I'm going to have to live my life not being able to see. Okay, this is hard. But I know that there are persons who are out here who are doing it. So I'm going to be like those persons because it's just not over for me. So I had to be determined and figure out. And I mean, it's still a journey I'm still on. So I'm learning and coping and finding my way.
Got you. So who is the very first blind person you have a interaction with once you became visually impaired?
The very first person, I think it was Tracy Jackson. He was my technology teacher. I did not come into contact with blind persons. Unfortunately, I don't know where they all are sometimes. But
you didn't see them?
I did not. Shut up. Okay.
They out here. You didn't see them?
Mr. Jackson came to my home as my technology teacher, and I couldn't wait to see this person because I'm being told a person is coming to teach me how to learn the computer who was completely blind themselves. So I was really excited. And just to know another person was able to teach another blind person, which made complete sense that I would learn it from his perspective as to somebody else's, because I went to the Center for Visually Impaired Persons in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm going to get tools to help me. And one of the things I picked out myself was like a keyboard that was like specially, I guess, supposed to be used for persons who could not see. And Tracy comes to my house and he goes, "What you doing with that? You're not using that." I'm like, "Huh, but I picked it." No. He's like, "You're gonna use a regular keyboard just like anybody else would. So you can use that after you finish using the regular keyboard, but for now, that's not what you're gonna use." And it was so like, wow, what is he talking about? But as I began to learn, it made utter complete sense. Like, why try to? I can't make the world adapt to my circumstances. I have to adapt to the world and how it is already existing. So it made a lot of sense, and I love him for that. He was the very first person that I met that was completely blind and came into my life. So yeah.
Yeah. Tracy Jackson has some very deep roots in, I would say, the culture of, at minimum, Atlanta's African American blind. When I became blind, I heard about Tracy Jackson. Now he's all the way, I think he's in Albany, right?
Yes, Albany.
And so all I would do is hear these stories of him, so much to the point I'm like, man, ain't no real Tracy Jackson out here. Y'all just talking. And, you know, but I'm like, okay, this is a brother doing assistive technology. I want to do it too. And, you know, he was getting all these contracts and doing his thing. And I really, you know, from afar, not knowing him, really enjoyed the feedback that I kept receiving. And then when I met him, you know, he was just the coolest person. I continued to meet him, and then we became, you know, cool. And now we meet each other. It's like, yo, what's up, man? We made it. You know, you made it. I made it. We made it. Tracy is that dude. He's a great guy. So I can definitely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Mr. Abram. Yeah. So cool. So you're blind, you're navigating. So at this point, how long have you been, you know, visually impaired? How many years are we talking?
So 18 is when I stopped driving. I realized, well, you have no business being behind the wheel. So 19, 22, and 22. So I would say 4 complete years. I have not been really able to navigate as a sighted person any longer.
Okay, that sounds like women's math, but I got you. So 23, got you. Okay. All right. So 4 years. What's like your biggest takeaway that you've had in the last 4 years not being able to see? What is like the number one lesson you've learned as a visually impaired person?
Patience.
How does that resonate with you?
Wow. I have to have patience for sighted persons as well as realizing that sometimes they need patience with me. So it's a two-sided card. But because it's not a lot of visually impaired persons that are out every day, because clearly, as I mentioned, when I lost my sight, I was like, where are blind people? Where are they at? How come I don't see them in the stores every day? Not that I literally see them, but I wasn't even aware of them. I did, you know what? I have to take back the first blind person I saw. When I was a young adult, I did work in a group home with visually impaired individuals. They were developmentally disabled, and some of them had blindness. And there was a young man, his name was Brad. This is all just coming to mind right now.
Okay.
And he was so excited and just excited about life. And even though he was blind, he didn't feel like had any limitations. He was 18, so why would he feel like he had any limitations?
Mm-hmm.
So, patience. I mean, because sometimes you're ready to go and do something, but the other person or the sighted person may not understand. Not because they don't want to understand sometimes. Sometimes they just have never come across another person like yourself. So sometimes you have to teach them to help you. So that takes patience, and it takes patience sometimes on their part as well. So that's what I think. Patience is just wow, powerful, and it has to be used. Yeah.
Okay. So you was able to run into thousands of blind people in New Orleans, especially trying to check in at the Marriott. And so this is like your first exposure, I would imagine, to, a world of blind people. What was that like for you?
A little overwhelming at first, but as you mentioned, Julie Moses, she happened to be my roommate as well as one of my technology teachers. So she kind of gave me a heads up on what to expect, and she told me I would see a lot of blind people, and again, she told me to use my patience, that persons are going to be looking for direction. People who know what they're doing are going to be moving about, knowing what they're doing. And then that it's just going to be a crowd of bad people that are not being accustomed to. People just running into you. Not purposely, but, it's just like, okay, everybody's trying to get to where they're going, and nobody can see.
Right.
That was a lot. I think the hotel was kind of overwhelmed by all of us too. So, after 2 drinks, I was good.
He was straight. He was like, what she told me was exactly what happened. Yeah, some people bumping to you, some people asking you for directions. Like, yeah, oh no, I do not know. It's somewhere in here though.
It's somewhere in here, and I was able to actually meet a young lady on the plane coming down to Louisiana. So it was cool. She was very helpful. Her sight was a little better than mine. Well, not a little bit. It was much better than mine. But it was intriguing because she came to the convention just on her own. Like, she didn't know anyone. She wasn't part of an interview chapter. And we met, and she was very helpful. And yeah, we ended up at the bar, and they made everything copacetic. Yeah.
Okay. So a couple of drinks will make everything okay. I got you. So the NFB convention is over. You got to come back to regular life in Georgia. And so was there a fortitude, or was there a empowerment from you seeing other blind individuals make it in different walks of life that kind of gave you a lift once you came back?
I guess in different ways. First of all, I saw persons who a lot of people say, I need to help them, but actually I went down there and I saw blind persons helping a lot of other people, outreaching in like community service divisions and Black empowerment divisions and Black businesses. All of this was like different characteristics of the convention, and I saw that, and it was encouraging because I don't want anybody to feel pity for me at any time for any reason. So just seeing and knowing that other people are doing the same thing and we're helping other persons as well was just powerful. And it was enlightening.
So are you out, speaking of pity, you out with, your sighted friends or whatever. One of the things that I would run into as an example is, might be at a restaurant and they'll say, does he want ketchup? And I'm like, I'm right here. I'm right. Hey, I'm right here. Nah, I don't ketchup, but some mayonnaise would be good. Oh, so you can talk. What's something like that you get as a visually impaired person that just makes you cringe?
Uh, you happens to me all the time. uh, I don't like for persons to take money from my hand and then hand it to the person that's with me.
Oh,
That is
yeah.
highly insulting. Okay, I gave you the money, so I obviously know what I gave you.
Right, right.
Two, and you shouldn't doubt my capabilities to find out how much change I have.
Okay,
But you
okay.
can try me if you want to.
You gonna get them straight. You gonna tell them what it is.
I'm gonna get you straight.
Okay. All right. So I got another one for you. You tell them that you're blind, and the first thing they say is, "Oh, I'm sorry."
I'm
You
sorry.
go. What's
Hmm.
another one?
Um, I don't know. Another one that I could just think of offhand. People just to try you to see how intelligent you are. I hate when you tell somebody, I need you to give me the blue pair of sneakers, and they hand you another color, and I say, that's not that's not them. Well, how do you know? And I'm just like, just like if you put mouthwash in your mouth, you know whether it's dirty water, it's Listerine, damn it.
All right. I got one more. There you go. I got one more. Don't you hate when you talking and you tell them you blind, and they start talking louder? Like, no, some blind, not deaf.
Wait a minute. I went to the movies Tuesday and the guy said, I told him I needed the audio descriptions headphones. And he said, so you need full audio or you need narrated? And I just kind of looked and he just was like, oh, I asked a stupid question. I was like, yeah, because I can hear.
Oh, I hate, man. That is the worst. This is the best thing and the worst thing. Going to the movies. Say both of you all are visually impaired. You get the headset. You got your popcorn ready, the drink ready. The movie about to start. I hate sitting there through all them commercials and stuff. And you put the headset on, it's just loud as hell. I'm like, no audio description, bro. So then we got to go back out. The movie done started. He talking about, I don't know. And I'm like, oh, that's the worst, man. Can't they understand? I'm sure we the only people coming here asking for these headsets. They got dust on it.
I don't know. We gotta go out into the public more,
Right.
and so that they know that we're out here and they can understand what we need. And that's, I guess, the only thing that we really can do to promote people's more awareness. Because if we stay in the house, then they don't know what we need.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you gotta go out there and let them know that I need this, and I'm here too. So be aware that I'm here and help them overcome their ignorance.
Hashtag blind eyes matter.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
How about that?
Yeah. Hashtag blind girl summer. Woo-hoo.
Listen, no. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So, A Star Was Born. You got a podcast releasing in the year of what?
Don't do that. Don't
What?
do that, Mr. Jones. It's
What?
coming. Okay, but the world is coming. I don't have a release date yet, but it will be out there. And yes, my target audience is blind persons, but I think it'll be helpful to everybody. It will be the best I can tell persons to understand is if they saw the movie Green Book and it was based on how in the African American culture coming to the South, you kind of needed a guide to know where you could and could not go, or where you were able to stay, or kind of guide your way through the dark. And I want to be that light in the dark. I want to have places where persons are able to follow my steps if they so choose, and be able to find what may better accommodate them when they go out into this world. Because I don't want you to stay in the house. I want you to go out and feel comfortable doing it. So I want to be able to be that guy, and it'll be my perspective. So you can like it or not like it.
So an example of that would be, let's say it's this restaurant that you go to and they are familiar with you as a visually impaired person. They treat you with respect and dignity and with accommodation, and you have a nice, enjoyable experience. That would be something you would green book and tell others about.
Yes, I want to rate them based on, okay, it's going to be a cane system since that's what the blind community is familiar with. So, I'm going to give it a cane rating. It's going to be either, a gold cane, silver cane, or I'm going to call it a wood cane. So, whether they accommodated me with either having the QR code or waiters or waitresses that are aware that blind persons need maybe just a little bit more assistance than others, and maybe going ahead and letting them know what the specials are, because I don't know to ask if there's no signs that I'm able to read, or I might not know Braille, or they may not have an accommodating menu. So if those things are easily and accessible to us, I'm gonna give you your ratings, because that's not just blind people service, that's just good customer service all the way around anyway, because we're not the only persons that need it. Elderly people need it, other people with other disabilities need it. So if you have good service, then it will be reflected and you will get known for that. So it just lets all businesses be on their P's and Q's, right? Look funny.
So bad service but amazing food. What do you give them? I'm talking about the food is to die for. And it's not bad service like they rolling their eyes and popping their lips at you, but it's not optimal. You standing there at the vestibule waiting for the maitre d', and they don't see you. You just like, the hell, what's going on? And blah, blah, blah. They finally realize it, and they...
Sometimes businesses need help. Somebody needs to let them know.
Okay.
Sometimes they don't know that they have bad service. So that might be what you're there for, to let them know. This could have been a fabulous trip that we had today, but because your person at the front desk, your hostess, was just rude, crude, and socially unacceptable. I like to use that term. Wow. It just made the experience bad. But, that's something that can be corrected. So,
interesting.
Sometimes they just need to know.
I got you. And you were speaking of wooden canes, and I'm what I like to call an elegant cane collector. So I have metal canes, and I have my own cane that I designed, and a bunch of different types of canes. But I ran into a guy at the NFB convention who had this really, really lightweight cane that he makes out of bamboo, and it kind of mirrored the NFB cane, but it was the straight version, because you can't collapse bamboo easily without an engineer. And I need to call him, get his name, and get me one of those, because it was an amazing cane. He can do it in like burnt orange, my favorite color, and blah blah blah. So glad you mentioned
cool.
it.
I was unaware of a wooden cane, but as you have already mentioned, that there are some inconveniences in it. So like I said, you can be on the spectrum, you just might not be so clean.
Yeah. Dope. Yeah, that'll be my going out cane, and then it'll have to match, what I got on and all that stuff. So I'm thinking like little creams and how to swag it out. But what's gonna be the name of the podcast?
So as you mentioned, a star was born. My name Astra actually means star.
Okay.
So my podcast, again, is going to be from my perspective. I can't give anybody else's view except my own. So it's going to be called A Star's View.
Okay. A Star's View. The Green Book to the South and beyond.
Yes.
Well, dope.
We're going to get out of the chitlin circuit.
I know, that's right. I want to be going to some of these places and giving some ratings and some opinions on such. So I hope, you invite me and others and me. And,
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind your perspective, Mr. Jones.
Sounds like a plan. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we always have this one last question, and then we like to give the people where they can find you. And if they can't find you right now, then they just can't find you. But the last question.
When I come out, the powers that be that need to find me will be able to find me.
Wow, the powers that be. Now, mind y'all, she giveth and taketh away the electricity, but the powers that be, I guess it's some unionized community, brotherhood. All right, so you grew up well-cultured, well-rounded, well-traveled, and you are here today at age 19 plus 4, 23. What do you tell... I'll give you 2 questions since we don't have places for them to reach you right now. So, number 1, what would you tell the much, much younger Astra based on what you know today? What advice would you give the young Astra?
Good question. What would I tell her? That's a good one. I'm a younger actor because I don't have a lot of regrets in my life, so I guess I would tell her to even more just enjoy everything that you see, take in everything that you can. I really did do that, I feel, but even more so to make sure that you don't miss a thing that passed by you. Don't say no to anything that could be intriguing, that might change your life, and that you could learn even more. So I think I did that, but I'm sure you never catch everything. So I would just tell her to be more aware of that, to make sure that she don't miss out on nothing.
Okay. All right. And so you run into a person that just lost their sight today, and they're down and out. They're going through the toils of realizing that they're not going to be able to see anymore. What advice would you give them?
Guess what? Blindness is not the end. It's not the end. So, you're gonna find your way. You know what? Because it's either that or be dead. So, you still here.
It's either that or be dead. Oh, okay. You just gotta let them have it.
You gotta let them have it, because sometimes they don't wake up on just, a little push. You gotta kind of shove them and let them see the edge.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing's wrong with that. All right, Astra, it has been amazing. This is probably one of my longest interviews, in the history of interviewism. But it was a great story, a great journey, and packs and packs of oodles and noodles for you.
No. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. You have a good one.
Light flares moving over a black backdrop. The word empowerment in orange all uppercase appears behind the flares. Underneath the word empowerment, in white lettering also behind the flares, is a mechanism by which individuals, groups, and communities gain mastery over their affairs. Light flares fade. A transparent mirror image of the words are also underneath.